there is no the news. I've come across a couple of videos recently just where people have made the claim, like, just say, haven't you seen the news lately? And I realized, like, that doesn't mean you're seeing the same thing as everyone else. You realize that, right? And it's funny because in this particular instance, like an older person, I can understand that being the case. But in this instance, it was like a college kid saying that. And I just wondered, like, what makes you think that the same information that you're getting is the same information that everyone else is getting? That's just not how it is anymore. It used to be, but not anymore. And then it brings up the whole other issue of the legacy media umbrella, which I honestly think is the biggest reason for such a splitting of society. Because I think that people that are in the bubble that still believes that, say, a CNN is a neutral middle news source, like if someone thinks that, then they've never explored the views of other news sources to understand how left-wing the CNN has become, along with all of the other legacy media that's out there. So it's like you have two groups. You have one group who's like, this is reality. Whatever legacy media tells me, this is truth, this is fact, this is not a narrative, this is just what it is, even though everything about it is bad. And then you have all the other people who are outside of it saying, hey, step outside the bubble and realize that actual truth and facts is actually exhibits outside of it, and that there are sources out there who actually try to take a neutral middle ground perspective and give you, here's the good and bad from this side's perspective, here's the good and bad in this side. And I just don't think in general that people do that, because it's work. And because it's so easy to just sit on social media and scroll and whatever comes up and then you just believe it. Like, oh, okay, that must be true. And this is what's so scary about the future of society, because if college kids are saying, like, okay, this is what the news is telling me, so therefore it must be true, don't realize, like, well, wait a minute, that might not be true though. But anyway, all of this is why communication can't happen, because the barrier that stops it is one side saying, but these are the things that I've heard and know, and this is how it is. And then when someone's like, well, actually, I've heard these other things, they're like, no, you're wrong. That's not. And then the discussion is over. It's just, you're this, you're that, you're that, you're this, just because you question things and look into things and don't view it from the one narrative perspective. And all of this has to do with emotional intelligence and critical thinking, and really mental health and ego, because you have to first question your beliefs and thoughts in order to even start. You have to be able to say, what if I'm wrong? And you have to ask yourself, what is the other person's perspective? If I assume that the other person, the other side, is good, then what is it really? Because everything I'm hearing is that your side is bigots and racists and whatever. So I don't understand what would make you morally good. Well, in most cases, this person doesn't even want to listen. And that's where the disconnect happens, because you have to actually listen to what the other side is saying and know what they're saying to be able to have the full picture. And the irony of it all is the people that look outside of it and have the full picture have the least strong opinion, because they know that there's so much nuance. And the extremes on each sides are the ones who are yelling at each other because they have the strong opinions. And the people in the middle are like, stop having strong opinions. It's not that simple. So things that need to happen to improve all these things, people need to get better at confronting their ego and questioning that maybe, just maybe, they could be wrong. People using critical thinking by making an argument for the opposite side of yours. If you can't make the argument for why the other person feels the other way, then you are lost. And number 3 is emotional intelligence. Knowing and realizing that the media and the news is manipulative, and they're trying to have you full of fear and terror and hate so that will make you go to the polls and vote. That's it. I hope, for the sake of the future of America, that this gets better. But I'm afraid it won't, because as soon as all these AI videos where people are arguing about this, that, and the other, it's certainly not going to be easy to know where the truth is. So people hopefully step away. Anyway, that's my rant. Be kind. You never know what someone else is going through.